morning, Quadcopter 101 here, and today's shout out goes to Alan Burden. Alan was first to say first in one of my recent videos, and thus wins this shout out, so congratulations. Good morning, Quadcopter 101 here. What I got for you today is the do-it-yourself drone. Build it yourself. This is a nice little beginner's learn to fly drone. It is available in two different versions, with and without a camera. The version I got is without the camera. I just want a little fun to fly drone to fly around in my basement, and that's what this one particularly is. Again, there is a different version out there with a Wi-Fi camera. You know, Wi-Fi cameras on these little toy drones aren't the best, so if you're looking for just something to play with, I recommend going with a cheaper non-camera version. And it does come with an instruction manual. I strongly recommend you read it before you attempt to build it, but I did read it already, so I'm going to go assemble it right now. Let's go over what you get in the box. First off, you get a battery charger for the battery that comes with this. It's a little 3.7 volt, 300 milliampere hour battery. Very generic, very common battery. You get a set of prop guards. I am not going to install the prop guards. These almost always degrade the flight performance of a drone, so I'm going to leave my prop guards off. You get the frame. You get the battery cover, or the battery holder for the drone. You get the flight control board. This is the brains of the drone. It's very important. You also get 4 little motors that go with this. They appear to be 7/16 motors that you will install according to the color coding on the end of the wires for the each of these motors, and the color coding on the board. So it's kind of hard to mess it up there. You get a prop puller for removing the props. This is for removing props if you need to replace them because you get spare props. You get a full set of props and 1 set of spare props. You get the flight transmitter, and these are just little sticks that you stick in to the transmitter, these little plugs. We'll do that later, but that's to enable you to operate the transmitter. And it does come with batteries included, which is nice. Okay, to build this thing, the first thing we need to do is look at the frame and determine which way is the front. And the front is the one with the little knob on the back here. And we also got to take the flight control board and determine which way is the front. And the front is with this little power cable, this smaller cable. This cable is for powering the camera, which did not come with the drone, but it's still installed on the flight control board. And the thicker wire is the plug for the battery, and that's the back end of the flight control board. So front end is the thinner wire, back end is the thicker wire, and all we need to do is align these tiny holes with these mounting holes on the flight control board. I also recommend that you move this wire over like so, and I'll show you why here shortly. But let's install this, plug this into the little holes on the flight control board. If I can line them up for you there. And they are aligned. And also what I wanted to do is, what I told you here, is we're going to move this wire out of the way, or try to keep it out of the way of the propellers by placing it like so, pinning it right there. And that should help keep this wire from getting in the way of the propeller. Since we don't have the camera with this particular version, we don't really need this. We actually could snip this off, I guess, if we wanted to. But okay, now that's aligned in there. And the next thing we need to do is, well, actually, next thing we need to do is install the motors. And we're going to start off now. The A motors, you're going to see a little bit of there's a, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let's see if that focuses. But that shows you where the A propellers go. And the forward left and back right is where the A propellers and A motors go. And those are color-coded with red for the motors. And the B propellers and motors are forward right and back left. So we're going to start with one of the red motors. And let me grab one. And we are going to put the wire, make sure the wire comes out this end, and slide one of these motors in like so. And do the same on the other end. Plugging or sliding the motor in and enabling the wire to go in like so. And then we're going to plug in these 2 red motors, making sure that we match the pins where the pins with the plug, so we don't want to jam it in there. So you want to visually check to make sure the holes on the end of these plugs match the pins in the receptacle, so you don't bend those pins. Doing the same with this one here. And doing it like so. There we go. And then we do the same with the white motors. White motors go in like so. Slide in. I'm going to pin it right away. Okay, receptacle and pinholes, matching them up. And the other one on this side here goes in like so. And also matching these pins with the receptacle pin, or the holes with the receptacle pins, so I don't bend them. There, get in there. There we go. Okay, and next thing we do is put the battery cover on the top. And that holds the flight control board down so it doesn't come back out again. Okay, folks, I'm sorry. I did not check. This battery cable, or this battery cover goes a certain way. There's a wider angle and a smaller bracket. And they got to match up the wider and the smaller brackets, or else you can't close it. There we go. Got it that time. So that is the assembly. Now you got to get these wires out of the way of the propellers. So we're bringing them down like so. Make sure they don't get bound up with the propeller. So you got to pull each one of these wires downward like so to get them out of the way. Along with this particular wire here. Okay, so that's almost assembled. Now the next thing we got to do is put the propellers on. Now again, check and make sure these are the A's. Front left and back right are the A's, and these are the A propellers here. You just push them on like so. Okay, that one's on, and then the B's. Okay, the A's go on the red motors, and the B's go on the white motors. Okay, and that should be it. Then the battery just simply slides in here like so. Let me bend it a little bit so it goes in a little bit easier. And once I charge this battery, we should be ready to fly. So that's the assembly of the do-it-yourself drone. Didn't take too much time, I hope. Did it on screen here so you could see it. Again, make sure these wires are out of the way before you go flying. Move them downward. And let me charge up this battery, and let's take it for a flight. So I hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, before we go flying, I want to show you real quick. I found a way to get these wires out of the way and keep them out of the way. Each one of these arms has a little slot that you can slide the wires through and downward and away from the propellers to keep them away from the propellers. And also for this one wire over here, I actually slid through that unused power cable for the camera that's not included with this, to keep that camera cable out of the way. So just a little trick, I guess that's what those slots in the arms are for, actually, is to get those wires out of the way of the propellers. So now we should be ready to go. Let's take a look here. Yeah, everything's out of the way of the propeller, so we should be ready to fly. So let's take it down to the basement now and see how it flies. Hope you enjoy this flight. Okay, to start the drone, we are going to plug in the battery, like so, and place it on a flat level surface. And then we're going to turn on the transmitter and bind it to the drone by up down on the throttle until the lights are solid. Okay, the back side should be the red lights, front side should be the blue lights. Now again, this drone has just been built and it's never been flown before, thus we're going to probably have to calibrate its gyros first. Okay, make sure the gyros know what is a flat level position for this drone. And to do that, we bring both sticks down and to the left until we see flashing of the lights on the drone. So now the gyros should be calibrated. Let's do that again to show you. Sticks down and to the left till we see blinking, and now the gyros are calibrated. Next thing we need to do is get to the air, and again, since this has never been flown before, we should also expect to still see some drift. in the drum, okay? And we're going to need to counter that drift by adjusting these trim buttons until we get a flat hover. Also, we're going to probably want to go to higher rate too to counter that drift, because the drift might be severe. We'll see once we get in the air whether we need it to go to higher rate. Okay, so let's try it and bring both sticks down and out to start the motors, and again take to the air. Okay, right now I noticed that I was wrong. Apparently the blue lights are the rear and the red lights are the front. So the side with the with the battery connector is the front of the drone. So let's try that again. Putting it on a flat level surface, bringing both sticks down and to the left again to recalibrate, and let's try that again. Both sticks down and out, and taking to the air. Yeah, okay, that was right. And we do have some drift. Let me go to lower right, back to beginner rate. It's drifting to the right and forward. So let's first off counter the forward drift by pressing this back drift button, or trim button, until that's fixed, and then left trim button to counter that right drift. And requiring quite a bit of trim. Again, to be expected for a brand new drone. I'll get it. Hold on. And there we go. Trimmed that. Required quite a bit of trimming for this brand new drone. So, you know, it's to be expected. New drones don't know what level is, and you got to teach it what level is by calibrating the gyros. And even then, that might be wrong, as you saw there, in that I needed to also, let me get a little forward. I need to also trim it with these trim buttons. That's how you use the trim buttons. You know, it's still drifting a little bit to the right, so I counter that by a left button trim, and still drifting a little bit backward. I counter that with a forward button trim until that backward drift stops. Okay? So that's good. That's pretty good. Okay. Now I just gave it a little yaw there. I'm noticing it's drifting with the yaw. Let's try that again. To the right. Yeah, it likes to drift when I give it a little yaw. I'm not sure why that is, but let's show that again. Yeah, it drifts. And there goes our gyros. That's one thing you learn. If you bounce a drone, if a drone gets bounced around, ooh, there goes my head, expect the gyros to go out of sync. And I think the problem is, especially with this drone, is that this board is so loose in there that it's going to cause quite a bit of drifting. So we're going to have to recalibrate the gyros again because of that little incident we just had there. So let's do it. First off, let me double check these propellers and make sure they weren't damaged. No, the propellers are fine. So let's recalibrate the gyros again. Sticks down and left. And let's go to higher rate again in case we need to counter that drift. And then starting the motors. Take into the air again. Oh, there we go. Not too bad. So I'm going to higher rate because I don't want to go into that wall again. So now let's see if that drift is still with us. Let's turn it to the left a bit. Yeah, look at that. That's weird. Turn it to the right and it drifts to the right. So that's odd. I'm not sure why that does that. Can I counter it by using both sticks? I have to use yaw, and you have to fly this with both yaw and rudder, or roll and yaw control. Hey, again, that thing really drifts when you give it any yaw at all. So let me get back behind my hot tub here. Check our props. Props are still good. We're going to have to recalibrate the gyros again because of the ding there. You know, the gyros seem to be quite sensitive to impacts. But let's try it again. Gyros recalibrated. Sticks down and out. Take them to the air. Okay. So I'm not sure about the yaw. This probably is best flown outdoors, folks, because of the drift when you give it any yaw. So actually, let's take it outdoors and try that. We'll go outdoors and see. This should be able to fly outdoors. So hold on, folks, while I take it outdoors and see what it does outdoors. Okay, we're going to fly it outdoors so we get some more room. This is not really an indoor flyer, so both 6 dotted out. Let's try it this time. Second rate. Okay. One to higher rate too. Yeah, you do not fly this indoors, folks. Yeah, the drift on this and a turn is somewhat severe, but outdoors it's okay. One to second rate. Second rate's probably appropriate. Let's bring it back over here. Let's go down into the street. And bring it back. And it's crashing into the neighbor's tree. It drifts quite a bit, I gotta admit. I'm not sure what that, why that it has that slide to it. It's kind of like an old, it used to be called 3G, not 3G, I can't remember what it was called. Like the old WL Toys V949, I believe it was like that. Let's see if we can do a, no, we can't do a hand toss because I got to start the motors, but let's put it back on the ground again. Take it to the air. So we're going to keep it close. I'm not going to fly too far, but it slides quite a bit though. And I'm not sure why it's sliding so much in turns. When you give it yaw, it slides. But that is the do-it-yourself drone. It does fly. It's just it slides quite a bit. And I'm not sure why. Now, when you talk about 6G stabilization, there as accelerometers, it should be detecting that slide. And I think it needs to be tuned a bit, the accelerometers in this, to prevent it from sliding around like such. But again, best flown outdoors. Don't fly this indoors. You will smack into your walls with it, as you've seen there. So, and it's getting low in battery now because its lights are flashing. Do-it-yourself drone. I did it myself. I built it myself. Notice spring is here, or almost here. Enough of that snow. We had so much snow here, folks, in Erie. But I'm glad to see the snow gone finally. We'll get the flight time on this here shortly when it either drops or lands itself. And I'm not sure what it's going to do. It's going to be a drop or a landing. And it's a landing, so that's the total flight time. So that's a do-it-yourself drone. You build it yourself. I guess it's supposed to be an educational toy to see how to put together a drone. Its flight control board could use some tuning of its flight control software in that it's not really detecting drift. You have to counter that with some roll to counter that. So hope you enjoyed this flight. This is Quadcopter 101 signing out. Hi, Quadcopter 101 here again. Hey, if you want to get your own shout out in one of my future videos, make sure you subscribe to my channel. It's real simple. Just go to my channel page and click on that subscribe. And also make sure to click that bell button right next to the subscribe button. That way you get notified when I release a brand new video immediately and give you a chance to get that first shout out. So give it a try, folks.